Hello everyone, Zoe is here with another video and another guest. Today I want to introduce you to Fiona Tuck, the founder of Vitasol, skincare expert and nutritional medicine practitioner. She writes and presents for Channel 9, Vogue, Harper Bazaar and many more. She has written a fascinating book, The Forensic Nutritionist, sharing her experience about nutritional therapy with us. I recommend you to have a look at it, especially these days that we need to know more about food, health, and nutrition. Let's go ahead and listen to her. Hello, Fiona. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you. That's so great to have you here. So as a first question to start, Fiona, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your career journey, your book, your fascinating book, or what did you study?
Sure. Well, my background is skincare and nutritional medicine. So I studied skincare, which actually that was a long time ago.
That's right.
Like nearly 30 years ago, 28 years ago or something.
Well,
which was it's very different today, the courses that are available. But when I studied back in the UK, and it was quite an intense course. It was a 3-year course, and we studied skin. We did a little bit of nutrition.
wow.
We even did a lot of body treatments and things like aerobics. We had to teach aerobics.
That's interesting.
Which that wasn't really my area. I was really into skin. And then subsequently, just through my career journey, I then decided I wanted to take more of a holistic approach. And that's when I sort of bit the bullet and studied nutritional medicine as well. So I had a little bit of a nutrition background, but this took it to a whole new level. So I really work in the skincare arena and combine my nutrition knowledge with skin. So my background varies from a hands-on skin therapist, nutritional consultations, working in spas and clinics, working as a trainer. I used to have an amazing role as an international training manager that took me all around the world, and I used to train.
Amazing.
I know, particularly in Asia, we used to have to sort of do a lot of product launches and training overseas, which was such an incredible experience because
Wow.
I got to see the country as the locals do. So I would have an interpreter. They took me to all the local areas that you just wouldn't have known about. That was an amazing opportunity. And then I moved on to skincare, more developing and formulating and running Skinstitute, which is an Australian skincare brand. And most recently developed Vitasol, which is a nutritional support. It's all natural. So I'm all about natural nutrition, not taking synthetic vitamins or, popping pills. It's all about getting your nutrition as naturally as possible. So I founded Vitasol a couple of years ago, which we really sell through professional skin clinics. And we do sell online. We have a website as well. And that's to provide natural nutrition to really support the skin, the hair, the nails, and the gut health, because we know gut health is such a huge thing for overall health and well-being, but also the health of our skin too. And that's my little project at the moment. That's what I'm busy working on. So we do a lot of training and support for clinics. I also wrote a book, so that came out in 2017, I think, which is called,
amazing.
Yeah, it's still available. It's called The Forensic Nutritionist. So I'm all about more taking an investigative approach into health and well-being. I'm about taking a natural approach, getting your nutrition as naturally as possible. And the Forensic Nutritionist is really about looking at your own diet and looking at where you may or may not be getting it right. So looking at what nutrients you may be depleted in, how to recognize that, and really also learning how to recognize early health warnings
That's right.
via looking at your skin, looking at the condition of your hair, of your nails, because I'm a big believer that our skin never lies, and if we really tune in, we can listen to what our body is telling us before it's too late and turns into disease. So that's what I'm all about. I'm all about trying to be as healthy as we can in as natural way as we can, and being, preventative rather than waiting till something falls off and then we have to fix it with medication.
That's
Which there's a
exactly
time
right.
and a place for that. Yeah.
That's true. To prevent instead of like solving the issue at the end. That was
Yeah.
actually the next question, Fiona, talking about all this nutrition and everything. Like, how do you define a healthy lifestyle? Like, some people are kind of like believe if you want to have a healthy lifestyle, you have to be vegetarian or vegan. Or some people believe you have to take daily supplements. So how do you define that with all your experience?
I mean, I would say, and I always do say, there is no one size fits all approach, because yes, we're all human, but we are all very slightly different in the way that we react to different compounds in foods, or some of us may need more of a particular nutrient than others. Some of us may have genetic polymorphism, so we don't process a particular nutrient that well, so we may need more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst what we do know is that it's all about balance and moderation. I always say, look at the lifestyles and the diets that are proven rather than follow the latest health fad. We definitely know that a plant-based diet is going to benefit our overall health and well-being. It's the most supportive for our gut microbiota, the beneficial bacteria that are in the gut, which ultimately is going to have a knock-on effect to reducing inflammation in the body and disease. But a plant-based diet doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet. What it means is you need the majority of your diet to be plant-based as opposed to being meat-based or high refined carbohydrate-based. So really, I don't think nutrition should be evangelical or preachy or everyone has to follow this particular way of eating. It really comes down to taking a common sense approach. We know that we need a minimum of 30 different plant-based foods in our diet every week to maximize the diversity of our beneficial gut flora. Mm-hmm. So it's about looking at where we can get a variety of different vegetables, brightly colored vegetables, different fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains and legumes, and then adding on maybe a little bit of dairy, some fish, a little bit of meat. But some people just may not want to eat meat. It may not agree with them. Some people may just not like fish. So it's about really being able to navigate around that and ensuring that you're getting your nutrients elsewhere. So I don't think it's as simple as saying it's black or it's white. There are shades of gray. We just need to make sure we're getting that variety of different nutrients. I think when it comes down to vitamins and taking supplements, this is really something that you need to take an individualized approach to. There may be people that do need vitamin supplementation. Perhaps they are deficient in vitamin D, or they have a nutritional deficiency that may be through poor diet, or it may be through gut or malabsorption issues. It may be because their body is unable to convert certain nutrients as effectively. So there is a time and a place for supplementation, but by no means do I think that everyone should be taking vitamins every day just to support general health and well-being. Mm-hmm. There's absolutely nothing natural about a synthetic vitamin. And so I think it's quite short-sighted when people think, well, I'll eat what I want, but then I'll just take a vitamin pill, because these vitamins are synthetic nutrients. They don't come usually with all the necessary cofactors. they're missing the valuable phytochemicals, the natural compounds that are coming from plants that we know have a beneficial effect on our general health and well-being. So we know that there are natural chemicals that we only find in plants that have the ability to affect in a positive way our genetic or gene expression, which means that certain processes are able to occur in the body for the body to produce its own antioxidants, its own cellular defense mechanisms, if you like, and are able to reduce inflammation within the body. We don't necessarily get that benefit when we take a synthetic vitamin because we're taking an isolated nutrient in high dose rather than taking lower dose nutrients as we would get from food. So I'm all about getting nutrition from food where possible, because then it comes with the cofactors, it comes with other nutrients for maximum absorption and bioavailability in the body. So I think really there's no way to cheat the system. We have to go back to basics when it comes to food. And it's really about eating foods that are fresh and natural. There is an argument, Zoe, that people say, well, the food just doesn't have the nutrients in anymore. And in a way that is a little bit misleading, because really that's coming from a big plug way back sort of 20, 30 years ago from the vitamin companies saying you need vitamins every day. A bit like when Kellogg's was saying, you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. These were all sort of marketing slogans that people have caught on to. You are going to get nutrition from your plants and from your foods. There may be some minerals, for instance, from modern agricultural farming methods, so that the soil is maybe a little bit more depleted. However, if you think about it, plants wouldn't grow if they weren't getting the right nutrients.
Exactly.
And also plants will show signs of nutritional deficiencies just like humans will. So if a plant's not getting enough magnesium, for instance, the leaves will be very yellow. And then that will be a sign that maybe add magnesium to the soil. So I think that really is a bit of a myth that is out there. Yes, we need maybe to eat more vegetables. And I think the latest stats are 96% of Australians are not eating enough vegetables. So I think one of the main reasons people aren't getting enough nutrients is that they're not eating enough of the good stuff or enough of the right stuff. And I don't think people realize quite how much they do need to eat to get the necessary nutrition. So, I mean, really you're looking at 500 to 600 grams of veggies a day. That would be like a family size bag of mixed veggies. Most people aren't.
500 grams?
Yes, each.
That's right.
So most people aren't getting anywhere near that. They may be having a sprig of broccoli and half a carrot or something like that. So really upping the vegetables is really important, and looking at mixing up your plant-based sources from the nuts, seeds, whole grains and legumes. And again, not overdosing on anything, because when you eat anything, even if it's a healthy food, in excess, you're going to be getting too many of certain nutrients and not enough of others. So it's about getting that variety that's so important for a variety of different nutrients and diversity of the gut flora.
That's great to know. Thank you, Fiona, for sharing it with us. But there are also some other stuff in the news as well. Like it confuses people. Like, for example, they say there is selenium in some food, in some meats. Or they say there are kind of like health hazard to use a food processor or microwave, which makes life easier these days. We all have kind of like, we all need to have balance between work and life. So it's a bit hard to kind of like do everything manually by your hand. So you have to use this sort of food processor and stuff. And then when you hear this news, it just worry you a little bit. What is your comment on?
The media love to scaremonger because it creates a story.
Okay.
So I always try and look at, with the microwaving, for instance, there's no evidence to say microwaving food is bad for you. However, and if anything, some evidence says that it will actually lock in more nutrition because you're cooking it quicker. So when you're cooking food for a longer period of time, you tend to lose more of the water-soluble nutrients. What you've got to think about is, what is the food that you're microwaving and how are you microwaving it? So if you are microwaving frozen ready meals in plastic, I'd be more concerned about the additives that are in the food that you're microwaving, and the plastic sort of and the chemicals in the plastic, and heating that in the microwave. So I think if you've got some frozen peas that you're heating up in the microwave in a glass bowl, then it's no issue whatsoever. So I think you've got to think about, what is it you're cooking? What's in that food? What container are you heating it in? Are there any sort of chemicals that could be leaching out into the food? And look at it from a bit of a broader picture.
That's
when it comes to food processes, the more really, again, if you hand mixing or using equipment really makes no difference. I think when you're looking at things like juices, then yeah, you're still processing food and you're taking all the fiber out. So when you are drinking the juice, for instance, yes, you're getting all the concentrated minerals and vitamins, but you're going to have quite a lot of sugar in there, and you haven't got any fiber to slow down that release of sugar. So things like that you need to be a little bit careful with. And again, it depends what you're juicing. If you're juicing low sugar vegetables, then it's not going to be such an issue as if you're juicing high sugar fruit and drinking a lot of juice. So it depends about the ingredients that you use, really, how you're cooking, and sort of the heating methods as well. When it comes to selenium, well, selenium is a mineral.
Yeah.
It's an important nutrient for the body. So a lot of people aren't actually getting enough selenium, and we know that we get selenium from things like Brazil nuts, which are a good source. We get it from seafood. Salmon's a really good source of selenium. Selenium helps with liver detoxification. It helps to bind heavy metals so that they don't become an issue or build up within the body. So we do need foods we need a variety of foods to provide a variety of minerals and nutrients. So
not having
it's about it's knowing what foods have what nutrient in, and making sure you get a variety of those foods to ensure you're getting the right nutrients. We know that high dose selenium may not be a good thing if somebody's taking supplements with it, but the same with any synthetic vitamin supplement. When you take it in a high dose, it can build up to toxic levels in the body. So another reason why I think if you're taking synthetic vitamins, best to have that recommended by a professional nutritionist that can do the pathology work to check whether you actually need that nutrient.
That's a great
supplemented.
Thank you. Thanks, Fiona. A great information. I would love to ask more, but we don't have that much time. So for my last question, Fiona, what is your advice for someone who wants to do what you do? Like if someone wants to be a nutritionist or a skincare expert, what do they need to study?
If somebody wants to take it up as a profession, then I would say they need to look at the various different courses. Most courses will be 3 or 4 years. So you can now actually do a dermal therapy degree, and that would be something that I would recommend. And with the nutrition, you can either go down the dietitian route, so that's usually 4 years at uni, but you do then have to do a hospital placement as well. Or you could go down more the nutritional medicine route, so you don't then do the hospital placement, so it's not working alongside the medical professional industry. And that's usually a 4-year degree as well. So dietetics could be 4 to 5 years, actually, depending whether you do a master's. So there's a lot of hard work and slog that is involved, but usually these days you would be looking at a degree. The industry is really changing, and I think baseline entry level now, really we are looking at degree qualified nutritionists and skin therapists. If you wanted to do waxing or nails, that's a different story. You could do a year course. But I do think knowledge is power. So the more you can really study and upskill your education, the more that's going to equip you to be a better either nutritionist or therapist. And with nutrition, for instance, you still have to do ongoing learning every year to be able to keep your accreditation, which I think is a good thing, because especially in the world of nutrition, there's research coming out every day, and quite often it can be conflicting information to what came out, say, 2 or 5 years ago. So it's really important that we stay abreast of the latest research. And again, I always say be guided by research, but don't be blinded by it, because quite often you have to look at who's doing the research, how was the research performed, was it done on humans, was it done on animals? But it's very important to look at the research as opposed to reading something online and taking it as gospel, because there are so many people out there telling you what's right when it comes to nutrition, but they may have no qualifications or not looked at the research. Exactly. They may have an ulterior agenda of selling a book or selling an online program, or gaining followers, or trying to do it for attention. So always look at the research and look at the common sense behind it. I mean, the paleo diet, for instance, you know, people of the paleo movement would say we need to eat like our ancestors and not eat like cavemen. But why do we need to eat like cavemen when we don't live like cavemen? And cavemen didn't live very long. So it makes zero sense to me. Look at, say, something like the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle, where people have the lowest disease, they live the longest. It's been proven the health benefits without following any kind of extreme dietary protocol of what's right and what's wrong, like something like the paleo diet, which we now know is extremely detrimental long-term to gut health. So I think it's about looking at it, looking at the evidence, looking at, you know, where is this information coming from, and doing your own research.
Perfect. That's great advice. Thank you very much, Fiona. Thank you for joining us and taking your time today and all this great information.
You're most welcome. Love to talk to you anytime.
Guys, comment below if you have any question. Tell us about your nutrition routine, or if you are still interested to be a nutritionist. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe to my channel if you want to support me to provide more videos like this for you. Thank you.